In the small central Kentucky town of Cynthiana, on November 30th, 1928, Joe Beesman Hall was born to parents Charles Bill and Ruth Hall.
My dad was a dry cleaner and later became a mailman. Later, he became sheriff of Harrison County. My mother was a florist. She ran Ruth Hall Floors for years and years. My parents were very supportive of my activities and demanded that I do good schoolwork, that I attend church and do all the things that led to leading a good life.
The middle of three children, an older brother Bill, and a younger sister Laura Jane, Joe Hall developed a competitive spirit at an early age. First trying to outdo his brother in the various sports they played together, and at his beloved Uncle Ophel Harney's farm during tobacco season.
My uncle and I raced at everything we did. We even raced at topping tobacco, and it was the competition between my uncle and I that created a lot of my competitive spirit.
He attended the schools in Cynthiana and always believed in a strong work ethic.
The Harrison County REA had a job opening, and I was working at the Ross's Theater and washing dishes at the Dixie Dairy Bar for the minimum wage was 22.5 cents an hour. And REA was paying 50 cents an hour. So after school, I applied for a job, and they hired me. And they said, you have to have a Social Security number. I said, well, I've applied for it, but as soon as I receive it, I'll record it with you. Well, I never did receive it. I wasn't 16 till November. Wow. And I dug pole holes, guy wire holes, cleared right away, worked on a lot of the lines that were strung throughout Harrison County.
After high school, young Joe tried out for football at Eastern Kentucky University. But since the school didn't have much in the way of scholarships, he ended up at the University of Kentucky on a basketball scholarship when Adolph Rupp took him on there.
I was a freshman the year of the Fabulous Fives. And then the next year, I was a substitute on the 12-man squad. And we called ourselves the Fabulous Five and the Sorry Seven. And I was one of the Sorry Seven. I sat so far down on the end of the bench, Coach Rupp had to get an usher to go get me to go in the game.
Later, Joe B. transferred to the University of the South in Sewanee, Tennessee to get more basketball playing time. During his third game, he set the school's scoring record. Joe B. finished up his college career with a BA in engineering from the University of Kentucky. With a degree in hand, he got a job working for Conair in Cynthiana as a production planner. Seeing he had no future there, he took a high school job.
The coach at Shepherdsville down in Bullitt County has been drafted, and that job just came open. So I didn't even know where Bullitt County and Shepherdsville was. But I called, went down for an interview. They hired me as assistant football, head basketball, head baseball coach. My wife was from Harrison County.
Okay.
I had known her probably for 5 or 6 years, but we had never dated. We'd been at the University of Kentucky together. She was Miss REA at the State Fair. And I think that year was 1950. And I was selling for H.J. Hines. And I called on the school down in Butler, Kentucky. And the ladies in the dining room, they said, we have a teacher from Cynthiana. And I said, who is it? And they said, Catherine Dennis. So she was the farmer's daughter from Harrison County, and I was a traveling salesman. So we put an end to all of those jokes.
Catherine and Joe had 3 children, oldest daughters Judy and Catherine, and a son, the youngest, Steve.
I really can't imagine a boy in Kentucky growing up with a better life, being so involved and so much around the basketball team all the time. I think the one thing that I remember most him stressing to me, you be honest and you work hard and you'll be successful. I learned to treat everyone well because of him. He didn't care what position someone had in life. I always saw him being good to everyone.
In 1964, Coach Hall headed to Regis College in Denver, Colorado, and was head coach of the men's basketball team for 6 years. Next, he took the head coaching job at Central Missouri State. But before he went to Central Missouri, Coach Rupp offered him a job as a recruiter, and he turned that down.
And I told him that I enjoyed coaching. I'd come if he ever needed a full-time assistant. 2 years later, he had an opening and hired me. Well, that was in 1965. So my first year at Kentucky was the year of the Rupp's runs, 1966. And we went to the championship game in Maryland and lost to Texas Western at that time.
Joe Hall assistant coached with the legendary Adolph Rupp for 7 years, and in 1972 was named head coach of the University of Kentucky men's basketball team upon Rupp's retirement.
If you look at other programs that were similar to Kentucky, like a North Carolina or like a UCLA, they really struggled to replace their legendary coaches. Joe stepped in a tough spot, replacing a legendary figure like Adolph Rupp, and he won championships. And that's to my knowledge, it's never been done in any other program to succeed a legend successfully. So I've never quite thought Joe got the credit he deserved. If you look at his first 5-6 years as Kentucky basketball coach, he revolutionized recruiting at Kentucky. He went to Final Fours, went to championship games, won a national title.
Well, you know, that player-coach relationship is tough at times. I use the lessons that I learned from Coach Hall. Even now, you learn a number of things. Discipline. Winning games is great, but you also have to know how to handle losing games. I can look back on those and understand that those basic fundamentals are kind of framework of the way I try to be now.
Leaving with one of the best coaching records at the University of Kentucky, Coach Hall retired as head coach in 1985 after coaching for 13 seasons. But he wasn't finished yet. For 5 years, he was a sports commentator for ABC Sports. He then spent 12 years in a vice president's position at Central Bank. After being part of the banking world, Joe B. retired from Central Bank and was approached by a friend to do a radio show with someone many would not have thought possible.
A friend of his suggested that we try to do the Joe B. and Denny show. And that was a real shocker to a lot of people. They didn't really know that Joe and I were good friends, and we had so many things in common. We both were very active in a lot of charity stuff, and we both were busy trying to take as many good fishing trips and hunting trips as we could. Joe was easy to like, and once he was out from under all that pressure, he became a totally different person. Oh, he was laughing and smiling and telling jokes and stories. And
every year I sponsored a fishing tournament to aid Habitat for Humanity. Joe was very interested in it. I sold ads, and I had this a picture of Joe with a big stringer of crappie, and raised quite a bit of money. And I always told whoever's going to come in fishing, if he's down, he'll come and greet you in.
You know, people are just drawn to him because I think Joe B's an everyman. Everybody identifies with who he is as a Kentuckian, who he is as a person, the integrity that he carries with him, the fun that he carries with him too, the storytelling and everything else. People are drawn to Joe B. He's an icon of this state, he really is. And, but he's a humble icon, you know.
I'm remembered. I hope my family, my children, remember me in a good way. that I did well by them. I hope the fans and people I work for said I did a good job. I certainly did it with passion and hard work and competitiveness.